Christmas together. Get into the holiday spirit with a little iconic Elvis. I have two versions for you. I've got a harder version and an easier version, so let's get learning. Go over those chords that you're going to need in order to do this song. Well, the beginner version of the chords, you've got C, F, G7, and an A7, and the hardest chord to do is going to be a D7. However, you can substitute that easy D7, and I've got that on the chord chart for you, and it will sound perfectly good. If you want to do a more advanced version of this song, well, instead of doing the F, we're going to swap it out for a D minor, and we're also going to add a G minor to this to give it more of that bluesy jazz feeling in the original version. Here's what this tutorial is going to include. I'm going to go over some suggested strumming. I've got a beginner and a little more advanced technique for the strumming. I'm also going to be teaching another more advanced technique called a left hand mute, something that I think is wicked awesome. Some people call that a pump strum. Then, if you've got the chords all in hand, zip ahead. If not, I've got a little tutorial on how to negotiate getting in and out of that D7, both getting into it from either an F or a D minor and out of it to a G7. So I've got some little tips and tricks there. For the people that are looking to do more advanced skills, I'm going to show you what I do when I do my charity performances, which includes an optional instrumental interlude. And then there's going to be a play along of the easy version and then a play along of the harder version too. All right, let's talk about the strumming. The strumming that I selected for this arrangement is an island strum. I think he did this on the Blue Hawaii movie. Let me know. I didn't research that before getting into this. So I thought, well, you know, the calypso strum, the down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, calypso or island strum. If you need a tutorial, I've got a link up there. You could just do straight down strums though and be just fine. I also, when I play it, I put in a chuck on the second down. So it sounds like this. Down, chuck. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down. Like that. So that just, I like percussion, gives you a little bit more percussion flavor. But you do not have to put that chuck in, and I'll put another link up here for how to do a chuck. It just gives it a little bit more variety there, but you don't have to do it at all. You know, there's such a thing as a blue Christmas as part of the holiday seasons. I learned that when I was researching this. So yeah, well, I'll stick around to the end by the play along, and I'll tell you about Blue Christmas. So blue, also the jazz style, and because of that, I have added this little left hand mute. So when you leave your fingers in place on it, I'm doing a G7 here. When you leave your fingers in place, that chord rings through. I don't know if you can hear that, and it's still going. Well, if you do a left hand mute, it stops the sound from ringing. So here's 4 down strums regular. 1, 2. Now listen to it when I do a left hand mute strum. Did you hear those what it did? Now this is super subtle. I don't even know that you'll be able to see what I'm doing because it's that subtle. But what I do is I squeeze the chord, play the down strum, and as soon as I finish that down strum, I lightly stop squeezing. Just keep my fingers resting on those strings, and they're muted, so they stop ringing. So you're... So I'm going strum up, strum up, strum up, and that up is me lifting my fingers up out of depressing that chord shape. So we do that on a D7, and so it gives the ending of the, if you're not here with me, gives it a little jazzy sound. Do you have to do it? Absolutely not. You don't have to, but I want you to have lots of techniques because I use this a lot when I'm doing my charity performances. If you're with me so far, and hit the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel to grow and lets me know that the content that I'm producing is useful to you. I also have a Patreon site, and I have fabulous supporters. And not only are they getting content like all the chord charts, and we have live lessons and Guide to the New to Uke series, we also do charitable projects as a team. So join the Ukulele Fool community at even $1 a month and help me reach those charitable goals. Goals are always posted on my Patreon page. I've got a link down below. For beginning ukulele players, the hardest chord change to negotiate in this is from an F to a D7. So let me take you through how I do that. And the same in the advanced chords, it's a D minor, and it's, just adding that one finger. And what I do is pretty much the same. So what I'm going to say applies to both situations. So taking that F, I start by using my ring finger, and because it's right there, and depressing. That is a C on the A string that gets the 7 part of the D7, and then I lever down with my index finger, and my middle finger just kind of naturally goes on top of it. If you need a little bit more resistance, you can add weight to that finger in order to make that D7 come out. And don't forget, you can always crank a little bit, put a little physics into it, and push the neck of your ukulele into your chording hand. So F to D7, and if you're doing the D minor, it's the same concept. You've got the D minor, and this finger moves over first. Okay, and I recommend that you just sit down and isolate challenges like that. So if this is a challenge for you, just sit down with your favorite beverage and just go back and forth, doing that chord change. Just isolate it, enjoy the process. Once we're in that D7 shape, we gotta get out of it. So we need to go to a G7. So let me talk you through how I do that. Of course, I'm down here in the D7 shape like this, and then I just pick everything up and move the index finger to the first fret of the E string, and then plop these two down. Now, you do not have to play a G7. You could go from a D7 to a G, just fine if you like, or if you accidentally goof up and go to a G, no problem, no sweat. I just wrote it with a G7 just to keep that kind of jazzy feeling. So once again, I'll show you D7, move everything like that. And again, I totally believe in playing things in isolation to practice these challenges. So if this is challenging for you, just enjoy the process. Have fun with your ukulele, because if you're not having fun, you're not playing it right. So just remember, in keeping it fun, you do not have to do D7. You could play a regular D in this, it would be fine. The easy D7 sounds good too. Again, you could substitute a G for a G7. Just keeping it where you can do it and enjoy it. Let's test your rhythmic fluency. Can you play along with me? We're going to do 2 Fs on the island strum or calypso strum, 2 D7s, and then we're going to do 5 single down strums on G7 and do that little left hand mute with me. Are you ready? 1, 2, a 1, 2, and here we go. Do it again. Switch to D7. Again. And 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do it together. One more time. 1, 2, and here we go. if you need more of these kind of works, let me know. I'm just talking to my camera here, and so please give me some feedback. If you need more of these practice or less of them, let me know. Thanks. For those of you wanting to take on the challenge of that G minor, let's talk about it. You're going from a C into a G minor. And I think that just sounds delicious after hearing lots of G major. That G minor just tickles me. So from the C, I get in place basically an F shape, except for F would be on your G and E strings, and you place that F shape on your A and C string, and then you've been doing a C, your ring finger just hops over to the E string. So just practicing that nice and slowly, getting the hang of it. If you need to pause and do that because that's the way you roll, do it. Pause. I'll be waiting for you. Then to get out of it, you're going to an A7. And I'm going to assume that if you're taking on the challenge of a G minor that you don't need my help on getting to the A7. Let's talk about the instrumental interlude that I included in the harder version. Nobody taught me this. I just do it. Let me know. So if you know somebody else that does this, great, because I'm out there performing, and this is what I like to do. The instrumental interlude takes the part where you're singing, "When those blue snowflakes start falling," that stanza in the song. And so I sing that in my head, and you could just do the chords in the arrangement that I did. Each bracket is one island strum. Now, to give it more interest, I will throw in a few picked notes, and I don't plan it. I've played around with it, and this is what it might sound like. So. See what I'm doing? I'm just kind of like changing up the strums, throwing in the little few notes, right? I hold the chord shape. And this has just come from sitting around, noodling around on my instrument, having fun with it, getting to know it. And so I challenge you to do things like that just to make a little bit more interesting, because I want to encourage you to go out and do charity performances like I do too. Play along. We're going to do the easier version first. If you'd like a chord chart, I have 2 links down below. One's to join my Patreon community, and you have access to all my chord charts, or I also have one where you can just pick up just that chord chart. My chord charts include an introduction, a way to get out of it, all the diagrams, the strumming suggestions are written out along with the left-hand mute option is put in there, as well as box diagrams. So I try to give you lots of value for your money. All right, let's do the easier version. And here we go. I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue thinking about you. That Alaskan girl. Oh boy, winter solstice is lots of celebrations on winter solstice. It's the longest night of the year, and boy is it long. For this harder version of the play along, I am going to play the optional instrument interlude, but I'm not going to do any of my noodling around. I'm just going to lay down the chords for you, lay those down, and let you do the experimentation. Practice around with it, see what you can come up with, make it your own. And I'll be your backup band, and I'm happy to do it. 1, 2, ready, begin.